Hello, friends. Happy Tuesday. It's been a while since I popped in live. A lot going on just on the personal and home front. But I am here today to share a really inspirational story. And I was just checking. I was like, I hope I don't have anything in my teeth. I'm so I have so much going on. Like most of you can relate. If I waited till my hair was perfect or everything was done, I'd never be able to get on and share. So today, ooh, I already have goosebumps about the story I'm about to share. And many of you that are VFit members actually were part of the story. You felt it come to fruition yesterday. You were literally a part of this journey in the finish line of it. But I want to tell the story today. There's a lot of sad news out there. There's a lot of bad news. There's a lot of fear. And just sometimes you can get consumed in that and feel like everything's hopeless. Or I'll tell you this, it's easier to give up than to keep going. And you're right, it is easier to give up. So I come with this inspiration in hopes that if you need a comeback story, and your story will most definitely probably not be the story I'm going to tell today, but if you need a comeback in your life, you can have one. You have that story within you too. We can be telling the same story about each and every one of us. And I always like to share hope and inspiration and know that there is so much that we do have control over. So today my story is about one of my best friends now and one of our trainers, Lauren. And Lauren's one of my best friends through VFit. I was telling the team yesterday, we went to the same college and our husbands actually worked at the same restaurant, but we never met each other until VFit a couple of years ago. So talk about worlds colliding, small world. There are so many stories like that in VFit. It's crazy. But Lauren, trainer Lauren, a lot of energy, just the sweetest soul on earth. She's our also in-house registered dietitian. If you've ever taken her classes, she's just a joy. She's full of energy. She's so humble. She's so kind. But Lauren has been on the VFit team. She started on the member side, and she's been an avid runner, marathon runner, like very, very good marathon runner for years. That's what she loves. She's good at it. And she came to VFit kind of looking for a way her sister had told her about it, and she wanted to get some cross training in and just give it a try. She had never really spent enough time stretching and just sort of a little bit more cross training. So she joined VFit probably just over 3 years ago. I got to get my timeline. It actually doesn't really matter, but the timeline shortly before her first Boston Marathon, which is what my story is about. And Lauren came in, and I think actually we looked it up, Lauren, right? Your first class was unwind yoga, which is like stretching. And she was probably like, what is this? And now it's like, she knows she needs it more than anything. But Lauren hopped into VFit and she was awesome. She came all in, was really taking a good amount of classes, but just kind of, quieter on the member side. She did everything. She put in the work, but didn't fully give into the community side of it yet. And so somehow we started to just, I don't know, I just started to reach out to her and we became friends. So I knew she was running shortly after she joined VFit. She was running in the Boston Marathon, which is an accolade. Like you have to have an amazing record to even get into that marathon. And she was super proud. She had been training really hard. Think how hard, a marathon, you have to really put in the work. You cannot skimp out. And she had just kind of started cross training with VFit. So I wouldn't even say at that point it had too much of an impact on her just yet. But I was just like, oh my God, we have this member that's going to the Boston Marathon. Like, I just thought that was so cool. So I checked in with her that day of the Boston Marathon, like, hey, how'd it go? I'm sure you crushed it. And she had to write back and say, I didn't finish. I had to bow out. Like I literally couldn't take another step, Rochelle. My legs, I had the pain like I've never felt before. This is something I've worked so hard for so many years, and I couldn't go one more step. And my heart like broke for her because we all can relate to something we've wanted and worked so hard for, and it got taken away from us or it was out of our control. And part of this story that I want to share here is that feeling of having to tell other people. I know for myself, being pregnant and having a miscarriage and having to then tell family and friends, this is obviously two totally different stories, but that feeling of shame, or I let other people down, or there's something that I wanted so bad. And so Lauren had to tell, the people that knew she was doing the marathon. And I of course was like, it was out of your control. You got hurt. Like you literally couldn't go another step. But I told her, I said, I believe something good will come out of this, because that's when the rainbows come, right? You don't get a rainbow if you don't have some crazy storms. So I just knew in my heart something was meant big for Lauren. And so she comes back, ends up in a walking boot for about 6 to 8 weeks, I forget, ended up with a couple stress fractures in her lower leg. And that's really when her journey with VFit like escalated, because she's like, now I can't go running. I miss, being her running crew is a huge part of her community and still is to this day. But she really got involved in VFit, and she started taking like tons of classes, and we modified them from a chair or low impact. And we really helped her see that there is another way through this. And just through all of that in her opening, I extended this offer. I said, I don't think, I know, because our trainers, I know it's a calling from up above, that who's meant to be. I said, I know you would make an amazing trainer, Lauren, and your journey and your story is so inspiring. And, I really encourage you to look into this, and I would love to just support you through this. At the time, Janelle and Bridget, two other of our members, we formed a little trainer training team. And Lauren went for it because she had, now her focus wasn't so much on running. She was sidelined for a while, and that's, again, a blessing. So fast forward, Lauren becomes a trainer. She becomes, like, she's teaches some of the most classes in all different realms, even stretching and slowing it down, and has become one of my best friends. And then she's like, I'm getting back to the Boston Marathon. Not, I'm going to try. Like, she declared, I'm getting back to the Boston Marathon. And then COVID hits. And sure enough, it's delayed. Or did they end up doing it virtual? I don't remember. But it was, so here she should have been running it a year or so later. It's delayed. She still said, I'm getting back. So she kept up her training. And when it officially was rescheduled for yesterday, she knew the timeline of when it was going to happen. She qualified time-wise. I think you can send in virtual times or something. So she had known for a while she was going to be back in the Boston Marathon. And I love her work ethic, because you have to train diligently. You have to be controlled. You have to have a plan, and you have to stick to it. And so Lauren knew, though, this time she had to do more cross training. Like, she loved the way the strength training had started to make her feel, and her muscles. If you've seen her arms, holy cow, look at Lauren's arms. She's definitely doing her strength training. The stretching was helping her muscles recover. Doing the balance and mobility work in bar and all of that stuff was helping her feet and her ankles and her running. And so through that kind of storm, she was able to get an appreciation for all of these different styles of training, and for really becoming part of our team and community. And now she's a leader at VFit. So fast forward to yesterday, and actually we'll tell a different story of another trainer, Leslie, who ran an incredible race on Sunday, an outdoor adventure race that was like 30 miles. She deserves her own story, so we'll get to that later this week or next week. But so Lauren's going to the Boston Marathon, and Lauren never tells anybody. She's so humble, and I'm always like in classes, like, you guys, we're part of Lauren's training team. Like, she's here doing class. So, even though we're not running in the Boston Marathon, and I truly believe this, I felt part of her training team, like, we're doing this with her. So she goes to the Boston Marathon, and her flight gets canceled on the way there. They're stuck in the Denver airport. She had the know-how to bring her running outfit and her running shoes in her carry-on. They have to end up booking a different flight because Southwest canceled all their flights. Buy a new flight, ends up 24-hour trip to get to Boston. So she hasn't slept for 24 hours, doesn't get her bags. In fact, I think she said they weren't even delivered till after the marathon was over. And I said, Lauren, that could be enough to like shake you. And she told me, she said, I'm just so grateful to be here. Like, you couldn't knock the smile off her face. Like, she lived in an attitude of gratitude because she had been practicing that mindset the last few years. And it would have been easy to be like, I'm tired of, like, go down that negative rabbit hole. The story has so much goodness. And that's why I had to share. So she goes to run the marathon, and we knew it was going to start kind of during a class called Met Mashup, which is, she knew when her time would be. And we looked on the schedule, and we're like, okay, she's going to start around Met Mashup, which is a Monday morning class that she takes every week. So I invited everyone to Met Mashup. I said, I'm going to make it like running inspired, and we're going to have fun. Lo and behold, you could track Lauren. The Boston Marathon had an app tracker that you can put in her bib number and track her. So we, of course, tell all our teammates at VFit, like, you can track Lauren. We're part of her training team. Like, send her a message, text her, like, in all of our classes that morning. Our classes started at 3 a.m. through, she finished the marathon in Tabata. So our 9 a.m. class, she finished the marathon at like 9:28. No joke, the class, there was about 20 participants. Maria was leading it. They were doing burpees in VFit as Maria was showing Lauren cross the finish line. And Lauren even vouches in her head. She knew it was the end of Tabata and that the team was there and it made her run faster. Lauren finished the marathon in like the top 20%. She ran about 7-minute miles, 7-minute, 20-second miles for 26.2 miles. But through every class, we had about 6 classes going on during that marathon. And then, of course, all of our teammates who were just tracking her. And it felt like this community, and those of you who can vouch that are VFitters, we were like, I mean, I'm never going to be in the Boston Marathon. I'll probably never run a marathon. It's not really on my bucket list. But I felt part of this bigger cause and this journey. And we were so genuinely proud of Lauren. And she felt it. I mean, she opened up to the group today in tears, just like feeling all the love. Thank you, Evie. You're part of this team. You're part of this amazing. You always are giving support and accolades. But it just brings it full circle. I think about and this isn't anything to plug VFit, but it is because it shows the community and the heart that we share, from someone that's like an elite marathon runner to, someone overcoming loss or grief, to people that didn't know each other and their paths were put together, to genuinely, this is, if you can get one lesson out of this. Thank you, Sarah. And again, look at our members are popping in and you are like, you are the people that are part of this community, the women. And to know that everybody genuinely cared about this journey and felt part of it. Right now, you need to find greater causes, joyful causes, servant causes where you can put some good into this world, support people. So look for those moments to shine, and even in a small way, support somebody else chasing their dreams, be part of their support team. And I just think it's such a beautiful testament. Yes, of course, I on a personal note, know that all the cross training and the functional training Lauren's put in, hands down, has kept her injury free and kept her rocking that marathon, because you do need to do everything, not just running or cardio, but the strength and balance and mobility and stretching. But the true nugget of the story is that we all felt part of something that meant so much to somebody that we cared about, and that supports. Lauren shows up and supports people day in and day out, leading them on their health journey and through food and through nutrition counseling. And we were able to be there for her. And that is what, if you can experience moments in communities like that, and that comeback story, she could have, yes, like Sarah said, Lauren taught us about grit, perseverance, and the power of always smiling. Oh, one last part of the story. Sometimes you have to laugh that, like, this was not just by chance. Like, there is an orchestrator up there just crafting this beautiful story. One of our members had another friend running in the marathon, and there's about 350 VFitters. So, I mean, the networks, that's not like a massive amount, but that's a good amount of people if the law of, like, if 6 people, like, we're all united somehow. So one of our members was trying to find her coworker in a picture of him finishing the Boston Marathon. And she finds a screenshot. I can't even make this up. And she takes it, and right behind him, it would be his left, is Lauren running into the finish line with a huge smile on her face. And her watch died halfway through the race. She wasn't tracking her time. We were all watching her time, and we're like, you got 13 miles. Like, she went into that race and said, I have gratitude in my heart and strength in my feet. And she ran every step of that marathon like a gazelle, but just with such gratitude to be back and for that redemption and the power of the team. 100%. And even her running community, that's a huge part, not to discount from them. They were a huge part. One of her running friends was there and hugged her on the sidelines. Oh, chills. So these kind of stories are too good not to share. I hope, share if you got a nugget of wisdom out of this, and please find those communities that you can be a part of. It doesn't mean you have to run a marathon, but in some point in life, you're going to have a big goal or a dream, or you're going to be going through a really tough time, and you're going to need the support, and you're going to need people that genuinely have your back and want the best for you. And that's how we need to live our life right now. Not that people are out to get us or people are out to do harm or ill will. I believe everybody's just doing their best. So keep surrounding yourself by the best, being your best. And when you get knocked down, know that there's a reason, and that rainbows only come after the storm. And man, Lauren's rainbow story of this journey is just full circle. I'm so happy and proud of her. And pretty much I feel like we all ran the Boston Marathon, so like I can check that off my bucket list because I was there with her doing it. So have a good day, everyone. I hope that this will light you up if you need to come back on whatever level. And thank you to all the VFitters for being part of this team. I was just meeting with my business coach today, reflecting on a meeting we had in June, and she asked me what my goal and dream of for VFit is and what my mission. And I didn't write it down because it's so ingrained in my heart. And I said, to create a space to bring joy and happiness to people, and to build a community where we can share this together. And yesterday, just the whole journey. And I can go on. This is it, I promise. To know that sometimes the plan is not on your timeline, right? Lauren didn't finish the Boston Marathon 2.5 years ago on her timeline. The timeline was different and it ended up being better. So when you don't hit your goal on your timeline, know there might be a very good reason, and to trust into that. So I'll leave you with that. That's a lot. I probably could have done like 5 different videos on this, but so good, so good. All right, bye.